Jason,
Thank-
brother, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, man. How you been? Congrats on Deathloop. Congrats on the reception. I love the hell out of this game. My wife knows it. Yeah, she was annoyed at how much I played this, but I had to. Um,
I dig
f-
it.
for starters, how's the year been for you, man?
The year's been fantastic, Jamal. Personally, I started off the year with a newborn in February.
Congrats,
Um, I, th-
congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's my first son, and it's been the most life-changing experience I could ever even imagine. Career-wise, I have this dope Twizzler spot that's running. It's been running all year. Me sitting on a beach, having deep thoughts about wearing white after Labor Day. That's been good. And then as soon as my son was born, I started auditioning like crazy, and I did recurring guest star on Mayor of Kingstown that comes out on Paramount Plus. Taylor Sheridan and Hugh Dillon created. Jeremy Renner starring with Kyle Chandler, Diane Weiss. It's an incredible cast. Michael Beach got to pal around in Toronto with him most of the summer. And then the Harper House doing President Obama on episode 6, and did another bit on Let's Be Real on Fox doing Obama with a guy that does Springsteen, and just a couple video games. Obviously, Deathloop has been the highlight of the year. And we're in what, September going on October? Man, I'm on fire right now.
Listen, man,
It's been a great year.
your son showed up and was just like, here you go, pops, peep everything. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really crazy. I mean, congratulations across the board. I'm not surprised, man. You're hella talented, crazy talented.
Thank you, brother.
Before I ask anything about Deathloop, did you get yourself a PS5 yet? I saw that tweet and I was just like, man, I hope you get hooked up at some point, bro.
Yes. So Peter Hines, who is the Senior VP of Global Marketing and Communications at Bethesda, got an email from a vendor, I don't know who specifically, but a contact that he has, and they have secured for me a PS5, and it is en route. So I'll be playing soon.
Listen, you're gonna love Deathloop.
I hope so.
Just as the outsider, you're gonna love it. But I'm super glad to hear that. I love seeing all of the um just the reception and the fanfare and everything has been so awesome. When the trailer first dropped, I was hella hyped. My Black
Mhm.
Boy Joy energy is through the roof because we finally get that kind of representation, especially in this
Yeah.
genre and in a
Yeah.
video game. Um, but I'll get more to that later. My first question essentially is about the role itself. How did you come across it? Were you? I know your resume is covering everything, not just games. But were you actively looking for a gaming role? Or did it come up in another sort of like organic way, or did it just like happenstance?
I was actively looking for a job, and as as brothers on the grind and the hustle know,
Yes,
all
yes,
artists, I am looking for the job.
yes.
I knew we were talking about having a kid, and I wanted to stay ready, and anything that allows me to exercise my art and my craft and really sink into something for an extended period of time is something that I'm always looking for. I got an audition, and I kind of knew where to go with the character immediately. Just resonated. I went, oh, I know where his sense of humor is, and it's very close to mine. And so I just went in and did my job, got it. And then I found out kind of after the fact, as we were into it, Bennett Smith, our session director, started revealing to me the scale of the project, what platform it was, um, how the reception might go. And I had to tap in and check in with my nephews who are in their 20s, who are big time gamers. And when my oldest nephew found out about it, he was like, yo, Uncle Jay, like, this is fixing to be huge, right? And I'm like,
Right,
oh,
right, right, right.
for real? I don't, I'm not a gamer. I'm an actor. I have played games. Last game like in this world I played was probably Metal Gear Solid 2.
You can't go wrong with
And
that though. I mean, Metal Gear,
can't go
anything
wrong with
you
that,
shoot.
right? And then Devil May Cry was the one game that I played all the way through and went, oh, I actually could get in trouble going down these roads and flying. It was I never really got into the world, but I always understood that it was a big world. I understood how much the fans really go for the story and characters, and there's a level of loyalty to the studio and to the games themselves, and you play it over and over again. And so I kind of get it and looked at it kind of like in the music world, when you have a dope album that drops, that album continues to feed generations, and there's people that pick it up and go, oh wow, this is great. So to me, this is kind of that lane where somebody young's going to pick up this game that's maybe 10 right now, but when they're 20, they're going to play it and go, holy crap, this is amazing. And then the fact that it's a Black director, Black protagonist, Black female antagonist, like, to me, it's for the culture, and it's part of the culture. And I'm really excited that I was selected to play this guy, because I'm just now starting to understand the impact of it.
You know, anything for the culture will be upheld by the culture for generations, and I think it's a really appropriate way to consider that we cherish and take these things from long ago, and we still hold on to them, and we still carry them with us. Let me ask you, if you had been exposed to the I guess the scale of this earlier on, would this have like altered how you approached Colt, or would it have gotten to your head? Because for me, any kind of pressure, if you introduce any kind of shit like that, I will lose all of my focus. You know what I mean?
I understand that. I do get that. The short answer is no. I wouldn't have felt any pressure. You know, I'm a stage guy. You know, you got to go out and do it, 5-6 nights a week, live in front of an audience. Improv is my foundational background. So get a suggestion and go with it. And you got to make things work. So there's not a lot of pressure that I haven't experienced before as a performer. I'm an alpha. I've stepped all over the country when I was in college and have had those type of experiences. So the fear of pressure never really presented itself. I don't know that I would have approached the material any differently, because at the end of the day, it's a character. He's a human being in a digital world, and I had to play him as authentically and truthfully as I possibly could, with the full range of emotions and character and emotional arc and character substance that he had on the page, and then fill in the blanks with myself. So yeah, I don't know that it would have affected me at all. And then, once we got into it, we were recording and going through all of that, and then you go through childbirth and you go, oh, I got it. Like, I got the rest of life. Like, the rest of life is not going to affect me. I've gone through that, and it is trial by fire, and it's instant, and it's permanent, and it doesn't stop. You just lose that sense of, you lose a lot of senses of fear about things that don't really impact you. You know what I mean?
That's just a roundabout way of you saying you're built different. I got you. I absolutely got you.
I'm built different. You're right. No, I am. I'm old school. I'm Gen X, so I am built different.
Right. And like I said, a lot of folks cannot take that pressure. But listen, you and Colt fit like a hand in a glove. He's one of my new favorite badasses. I cannot stop laughing, but then also just feeling so emotionally connected. So like I had said in my review, like if something happened physically to Cole and he's in pain and shit, I'm like, man, I feel for him. I feel in that moment, more than just this is a character in the game,
Right.
So
right.
What was that like?
That you put that, you tweeted that, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, somebody asked me. I think it was either Aaron or Dan. I just did 2 other interviews. I think it was Aaron, Scottish guy from the UK. He asked me if there was a particular tweet that was out there that impacted me in a specific way, and yours was the one that I went, oh snap. He felt what I was putting into this character, because I wasn't trying to make him cliche. I wasn't trying to make a characterization of him. I was trying to make him real. And the fact that you picked up on the emotional energy and the emotional truth that I was trying to instill in this guy meant the world to me. I mean, I was like, oh, God. Jamal Mitchell. Touchdown. Michelle. I might be pronouncing it incorrectly.
No, you got it, Michelle. Yeah, no, man. I appreciate that, because you are, listen, there's no way I can take that out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? Like you're giving us that. You are, as everybody is saying, like you're serving. So you are giving us the art that we can then enjoy and be like, damn, this shit was so much fun. I don't remember the last time I had fun like that.
That's fantastic,
And
bro.
just playing a game, and it was super super dope. And I know for sure it was a process because you put yourself in that. And what was that like to be in his shoes and then to get to know Colt on a personal level? Because like you said, it's not just pixels and polygons. This is it's a person, right? So
Yeah.
what was that experience like?
It got real for me the day Oziomo and I were in the studio together, playing off of each other. That was when it got real, because everything leading up to that, like when you first see him wake up on the beach, I remember all of those recordings the first time around. He's figuring it out. And it was just me kind of talking to myself or talking to the ether. Ozzy steps in as Juliana, and I had heard some of her stuff and some of her recordings, but then we got to play off of each other. And I keep going back to this. She elevated my game and got real. There were moments where it just got real, and I was relating to her on that level. And there were actual times where Bennett, he had to keep me really honest to stay within the vernacular and the enunciation of the character and not slip too much into Jason. There are certain words that just didn't exist in that world. There were certain ways of saying things that just did not exist in the way he spoke. We had to be mindful of the time, of the era. Because this, I believe, to my recollection, it's based in the 60s, early 70s. And so language was different. The way we cussed was different back then. The way we turned a phrase was different back then. And so I had to stay, we had to fight really hard to stay honest to that truth. And that was where I started feeling the art form kind of kick in. I was like, oh, okay, this is how he would say something. And there would be moments where we'd do a line like 3 or 4 times. And Bennett would go, okay, got it. And another one would come out. And he was like, countless numbers of time, he went, thanks for topping it. That was amazing. Print that one. This is what we're using. And so there were times where he started coming live and really started playing the moments off the page. And it was an interesting experience because it's not often I get the lead role. It's not often that I've played some big time characters on stage before, but it's not often I get to play a lead role, and to get an opportunity to do that in something like this spread out over, God, a year and a half, almost 2 years. It definitely was a journey.
I mean, it's so convincing and practical. Literally Colt's voice, because I'm thinking about, like you said, the time in which this character exists, and it's so convincing that if you took Colt and put him like in 2021, he's a man out of time, like no pun intended, because of how
nice.
How convinced you were to stay in that zone and how much work you did to stay in that zone. Besides his backstory, besides his life in the game and the ambiance, what were some of the things that inspired your voice? If there's anything like outside of the source material, if there's maybe a place you go to get in your groove.
Yeah, I mean, there were 1 or 2 lines that I would say that would kind of drop me back in. Sometimes they would play me a reference to get me back into where he was at. One of the biggest challenges was which Colt is talking. How much does that Colt know? Because there's the green-eared Colt who's just showed up, so he's naive, doesn't understand. And then there's seasoned Colt. There's a Colt that's been in it a long time that wants to get the hell out. Each one of them, if you notice, there's a little bit more gravity and gravel and intensity and determination in each of their voices. And we did that on purpose to make sure that there was a separation, especially the scenes where this isn't live, right? This is just between me and you.
Well, yes and no. I was gonna. There will be disclaimers regardless.
Okay, all right. So
that's what I was gonna say.
I don't want to spoil for people that haven't played the game, but there's times where Colt is talking to Colt because Colt's having a conversation with himself. He's in the same scene with himself. And there's Colts that know what's going on, and that Colt can't be fresh, right? So we focused really hard on making a delineation between all of those guys. But then the inspiration actually for this character's sense of humor for me came from, honest to God, Jim Brown. I played Jim Brown in the original cast of One Night in Miami out here in LA, in the stage production. And Kemp Powers wrote an incredible script, which we've all seen the movie, but the stage play is extremely funny. There are lots of funny moments, but it's because it was with just these four dudes, just these four brothers just being brothers, right? And you know, anytime you get in that room, in a space like that, shit talk's gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
It's not gonna always stay serious, right? There's gonna be serious moments, but it's not always gonna stay serious. I watched Any Given Sunday, and Jim Brown's character getting upset started paying attention to how he, anytime they had him pop up in like as a spoof in a blaxploitation movie or whatever, I went, oh, that menacing, mean, but kind of goofy delivery undertone of it, that is hilarious to me. I'm gonna use that in this character. I'm gonna see where it takes me. And it ended up being the right way to go, obviously. So I didn't have to reach too far for this character because a lot of that is me. But the filter of it is like 90% a character I pulled from a play that I did 8 or 9 years ago.
I feel like characters like Colt, especially if it's a character with a black voice. Black voices work like Russian nesting dolls, where when you open it up, there is yet another voice within there that comes from somewhere else. And you go deeper and deeper, and then you get to the core, you get to the source, you get to you.
Yeah.
And we have not seen, like I said, when the trailer dropped, as many times as I got to see that trailer, every time it hit, as a black gamer, as someone who will usher children into this world and would love for them to engage with art that looks like them and represents them, it was awesome to see both black leads in a game like this that looks so damn stylish too. It looks so good.
The style sold me.
Right.
And
just to be honest, and to have black characters in that, because black folks just have style, I feel, by nature, right? So it's just so complimentary.
That would be a great album or rap hip hop group, Style by Nature, related to Naughty by Nature.
Yeah,
for sure. I like that. Writing that down.
And what was that like to, and what is it still like to get to be part of that representation? As we've seen the last year, a lot of conversations, a lot of things coming to a head, and to now be an integral part of that.
It's representation is always an important thing. There are ways that it's done that I appreciate, and there's ways that it's done that I don't appreciate. If I'm in something, by default of me being in it, it's a black role. Period. I don't care whether it's the first time it's been done or not been done. If I'm there, it's now black, because that's what I am. My influences come from all over. I did grow up in the burbs. I did not grow up in a predominantly black environment, but I did make a conscious choice in college to pursue just being in a black culture, being a part of black culture, and allow that to inform me in a different way. So when I seek representation and I seek to be in projects that have representation as a part of the makeup of it, I prefer it not to be like on the head. We're doing this because we need to put black people in it. No. Organically created from the ground up with black folks in mind, and then let their voice inform that, and you're gonna end up with magic. Write it with somebody else in mind and go, oh, we're just gonna switch and put a black person in there. That's whack, because you weren't thinking about us in the beginning, which means you don't have the heartbeat and the culture and our idiosyncrasies and our subtleties and our nuances. You don't have any of that seasoning in there. What you got is bland ass grits. You ain't got no flavor in it, right?
No,
Right.
right, right.
So with this project, I knew that they, from a very beginning, went into it with the thought, let's do this way, but not make a big deal, not make a big deal about it. We don't have to grandstand this. We're going to make a great game, put it out there, cast it with great people, the best folks we could find, put it out there and see what the fans say. And to now be in this seat where people are reacting the way they're reacting, to me, I'm going, well, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. It's great content. It's fun to play. It happens to be two Black folks murking each other over and over again, which I'm going to earmark that because I'm going to come back to that, bookmark that note. But two Black folks murking each other over and over again to break or keep a loop going and play off of each other. And if you've played the game, you know what the relationships are and you know what the story is there. That to me is magical because you're not trying to do anything, you're doing something. You're not trying to create something, you're creating it. You're making a statement without making a statement without making a stand. And by making that statement without making a stand, that platform gets that much bigger because now folks go, oh, we can do this with an all Asian cast. We can do this with an all Latino cast. We can do this with a multicultural cast. It doesn't have to just be a monolith. It can simply just exist in the world. Casting directors, game creators, anybody, they're going to now start looking and going, oh, we gotta up our game. We got to approach content from this point of view. And that is what, to me, opens more doors.
And that's what makes all the difference too, because to your earlier point, we just want to exist. These characters just want to exist, not as a thorn, not as a thorn in the side of, of America or whatever community that they're in.
Right.
Like, now getting the shit kicked out of them as a part of their narrative, but rather like you're in this. Black Reef is such a unique space. And I'm thinking about time travel, and in the history of just like sci-fi and fantasy, you don't often get Black characters in that space because racism, for one, is not only is it unavoidable, but Black Reef and Deathloop, it's done in such a nuanced and just curated way that Colt exists as he is and he's got to fight his demons, he's got to fight his antagonists, and he's got to fight hellish shit around him, just like any other character would do.
Right.
So to get to incorporate that, and the guy just happens to be Black. The other main character happens to be Black. Is organic.
It is, and they don't bring an inch of racism into the whole game at all. Like there's none of that exists in this world, right? So now you're just free to play. You're free to be, which I think what we're both saying. At the end of the day, I just want to be. Like, you don't have to do anything for me. Just don't get in my way. Don't put obstacles in my way. Don't create stuff for me to have to hop over. Just let me hop over what's there. And if I happen to get further down the road or hire further faster than you, well, then compete. But just let me be, because there's talent out here, and talent, Black folks, we just want to exist, right? And we want to exist without being beat over the head, in my opinion, literally, figuratively, socially, and economically. We just want to exist and be left alone to thrive as high and as far as we can. And it's been proven time and time again that if you allow us to do that, we're gonna go a long way. We're gonna go that way fast, and it's to the betterment of everything. It's to the betterment of everything that we're in and every environment that we live in to allow us that. Everything improves when you do.
And it's proven from the Black communities that want to see this sort of thriving. And even if it is a struggle, not a struggle steeped in the very real histories of our community in this country and in other countries, but just even of everyday struggles, if we could just experience those and be and thrive and survive and cycle through that, without it being a story of oppression, because people are tired of seeing that. Every time we see these new TV shows or new movies that come out where it's specifically at the crux is Black oppression, People are exhausted by this. We do want to see
Tiring.
black joy. Sure, we want to see black struggle, but I mean, in a way that's just deeply human in our own, and in our own existence, in our own fight.
Well, yeah, I mean, the worst thing that happened, you often see the reason why oppression is used as our instrument of or our obstacle is because it creates immediate challenges without you actually having to do anything, right?
Correct. Correct. Without having to create or imagine.
Right. Without to create or imagine anything. In the same way that, Scorsese it loves to make mob movies, like, because there's conflict built into that, right? Jewish filmmakers like to make movies and stories about the Holocaust because it's first of all is factual, but second of all, it's this intense conflict, right, of good against evil. And you don't have to build anything around that. You just have to tell the story within that and how did somebody get through it? What did they have to do to survive? Ours is oppression, slavery, and everything that comes with that entire experience. And I agree with you. It is exhausting because it's been played so much and the scar of it is so deep that I don't ever think that we're going to heal from it. But to be imaginative and creative and come up with worlds where your Black protagonist and antagonist are going through a struggle that's rooted in something outside of an experience and an experience that everybody can get on board with and relate to. Now you're all of a sudden, you're stripping down the veil of oppression and you're building up the flag of humanity. Because if I can relate to you, then I can see myself as you. And if I can see myself as you, then I can feel you. And I can feel your pain and I can empathize with you. And now I can get on the same page as you are. Now we can actually start having a conversation about your darkest pains.
Yes.
And because I see you as human, I now can try and put myself in your shoes. The biggest problem we have, in my opinion, between cultures is that it's been set up really well for people not to see us as human. The folks that don't want to see us as human. It's very easy for them to not see us as human. When you don't see somebody as human and you think you're superior to it, you can do whatever you want to it. We don't think about an ant when we squash it. And I know I'm getting a little philosophical, but this is the deeper conversation that I don't get to have a lot of other in some other interviews. But
right.
We don't think about squashing a bug. We don't hesitate because we don't see the bug as us, right? But run a ring of dog fights. People relate to the dogs as human, right? At some point, people have to relate to us in the same way as they relate to the things that matter to them, whether they're us or not.
Correct.
Right. And I think one of the ways you do that, and this is kind of one of the ways you do that is the whole idea of inclusion and diversity. I'm an improv guy. Every improv school that I've been to is predominantly white folks there and a handful of Black people. 2008, I started one of LA's first coed all Black improv troupes called the Tuskegee Experiment. It was 3 men, it was 3 women. We were the only Black improvisers at Second City Hollywood. So when we founded it, we were all friends. We knew each other. We just wanted to get off of a team. We wanted to get into a team where we weren't the token, right? In doing that, we were now free to play and be anybody on the stage. And you couldn't tell us that we weren't that thing. If we wanted to come out as Southern Belles, we did. We could do that. We could be anything. Our women were men, our men were women. Like we did everything on stage. We had a Klan scene one time and it was hilarious the way we played it because we played it at the highest level of our intelligence. What I found out in that process is that it freed people to imagine us in different things, and they had to follow our imagination, right? Then the discussion of inviting people to play with us came up, and the idea of diversity in the improv community came up. And I realized in the process of this, you don't teach diversity by having us be represented in something. You teach diversity by bringing somebody into us. Because the second you're the one that's not like everyone else, you immediately go, oh, I can't say that. Oh, I can't. Oh, wow, look at my thoughts. Because you're now, for the first time in your life, running into an experience where you aren't the top dog.
Correct.
And now you can begin to humble yourself, begin to humble your ego, begin to humble the thoughts that you have that are actually destructive and demonstrative, and start really examining your approach to humanity as it relates to other people. And that, to me, it's like that with any kind of diversity. You take heterosexual guys who run their mouth about the LGBT community entirely too much and plop them in an environment where they're now the odd person out. They're going to change. They're going to change. They're going to evolve. They're going to grow. And I think that's the best way to start teaching some of these things, is some of these concepts that we're talking about now. I think you have to begin, as it relates to video games in this world, you have to begin to approach the creation of some of these titles in the exact way that Arkane did. You know, I know that was a long philosophical diatribe, but like, I'm really clear on how you go about doing this. I'm clear on the philosophy behind it, and I'm clear on why it works. Because everybody that I've been getting feedback from, I'm getting feedback from every different type of person out there. All the pronouns, all the orientations, different races, different cultures, people internationally that have played the American version and the Italian version. Like, I'm getting everything. And they're all having the same experience. And the reason they're having the same experience is because it was a really human experience. God, to be able to have an impact on people like that as an artist and not know that that's what it was going to be, but just go in and play the role as humanly as possible, and to now be in this position where folks are just really resonating with it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what being an artist is supposed to be, I think. I hope.
That absolutely is. No. These are the conversations I have with other like Black and brown creators and actors and players in their world, because it's at the heart of what we do. But it'll always be at the heart of what we do, and that's because we're no longer imagining our lives outside of oppression. We are living it. Like, that's what we are, and that's what we do. And that's what a thing like Deathloop does. Even as big picture as we were just talking about, it makes those conversations happen, and it makes those experiences real for people. It makes that engagement that much more thoughtful and organic. And when people put that controller down or something, they're just like, damn, that moment where someone just goes, damn, and there's a pause, and there's this moment of either enlightenment or contemplation, it makes all the difference. And that's why I love being able to interact with games like this, because it's a necessary, it's just a necessary experience. As trivial as games might seem, the art and the story and the work behind it, obviously makes all the difference.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because, you know, I used to think the same way about games. It's like, they're just games. But every game I've ever played, I've gone, it's a day or two of my life. I'm all in. You're so immersed in that reality that time goes by. Gamers get more. This is what I've really learned. Gamers are more invested and involved in the games that they play. One, because they're selecting them. Two, it takes time. The visuals are fantastic, but they're more involved in some of these games than they are some of the movies that we all love going and seeing, that we can't wait for the next one. We're more involved in the video game because it becomes an all-consuming experience, visually, sonically, physically, emotionally. It's an incredible form of entertainment, but then you're in charge of the game. like you're in charge of the action, and now you're a part of it. So I don't even know if it's as trivial as as we may initially think it is, because it's a game. It's impactful. It's probably more impactful than most forms of entertainment that are out there.
It seems the most immersive, right? Because we can watch the thing. We can watch the thing about Colt, or we could be Colt.
Yep.
And in that being Colt, there is a humanizing thing that can't happen from just watching.
Right.
And you have no choice but to like come to terms. There's some folks who might play this and feel some type of way, like, man, I got to play as a black dude. And by the time you're done, you're coming to terms with the way you were thinking about that shit before. And it's
Yeah.
getting to you because you're like, hold on, me and Colt, we click on so many levels. Like, man, is
Right.
this, yeah, this is what it is. And this is
Yeah.
real. These are the experiences that exist outside of that imagining of a life outside of oppression. We exist in these ways. Colt is still my dude. Juliana is my girl. It was hilarious to experience that engagement. The chemistry y'all got is amazing, man. It's just this shit speaks for itself, and for it to be on a PS5 is, and on PC,
Yeah.
it's just looking amazing. It's playing amazing. Really was a blessing to get to play this. Okay, because
Thank you.
when characters and when games like this come around, and they don't come around a lot. Because the last
Right.
time I felt like this was when I was playing Miles Morales. And
Right.
I feel it in my blood.
Yeah.
This is one of those things. I hope everybody gets an opportunity to play this and to get their hands on it. Um, Jason, before I let you go, where can folks follow you, your work, what you got cooking for us, what you want to plug? Let me know.
Yeah. On the socials, it's my full name, Jason Kelley, Kelley. On Twitter, it's _JK. And on IG, it's JasonKelley.jk. So you can follow me there. Work-wise, episode 6 of the Harper House comes out on Paramount Plus in the next couple of weeks. I played President Obama in there. It's pretty daggone funny. November 14th, Mayor of Kingstown drops on Paramount Plus. Recurring on there. It's a fantastic series. It's dark. Jeremy Renner is amazing in it. Really got an opportunity to do a good scene with him and work really closely with some of the other castmates. And really the next audition, I do have some games, some big titles coming out that are on the horizon, but I can't really say what it is.
Yep.
But yeah. And again, like I said, the next audition, I personally looks like I might be producing a film coming up with some friends of mine called Sea Cloud Park. It was based off of a play that I was in a couple years ago, and we're looking to turn it into a feature film. And then on my own, me and my writing partner and my improv guy, Marshall Givens, we are starting. We've got a slate of animation projects that we're looking to get made and get out, get them pitched and shop them and get some stuff up. It's one thing to be an actor and to be a performer and be in representation as a voice. It's another thing to be representing as a creator. And I think that has to exist more than, as much, if not more, than being camera facing. So those are the things I got going. There's one other feature film. Yeah, I just God, see, I got so much going on right now, Jamal. I be forgetting stuff.
That's a good problem, right? You just got too much to go through.
Got a lot going on. There's a movie called SEAL Team coming out. It's animation about sharks and great white sharks and seals. And I got to be some of the seals in there. And that comes out, I think, sometime next year. And then there's another big animation that I don't know that I can actually divulge it, but the recording's already done, and it's a great cast. So I'm out here, as they say.
Yeah, as they say. Listen, Jason, I appreciate the time. I've no doubt you'll continue to get work. The work you've done thus far is inspirational. It's necessary, and I'm just really excited to see more of you, man. And again, thank you so much. Thanks to Colt. Thanks to Juliana. Thanks to Deathloop. Thanks for the experience, man.
My brother, I really appreciate the love and the support. Appreciate you being willing to and interested in having a conversation with me about this stuff. This is the time of my life right now. It's the first time any of this has ever happened. I've been in the game for 17 years and no one's ever really been interested in what I have to say. And I appreciate you giving me a platform and some time.
This is what we do, man, and of course we got to support each other in the process. We got to prop
For
each
sure.
other up. So
Absolutely.
people better get to know you. I mean, you work with Jeremy Renner, so technically you got your foot in the door with MCU. So I might see you pop up. I might see you pop up somewhere, and I'm like, I interviewed that guy. I know.
I got to get down to 5% body fat before that happens.
Man, listen, brother, I appreciate you so much. Congratulations again. Many good thoughts, positive vibes, and blessings to you and your family. And
Likewise,
I look forward
my
to the stuff you do in the future, man.
All right, my brother. We'll talk soon. The next time something comes up.
Oh, for sure.
Let's wrap.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll chop it up.
I appreciate you.